If you're using an online bank, do you actually know where your money is? Do you know what the banking partner is and who has your money? Well, in 2022 and 2023, two financial institutions went bankrupt and failed. One of them was FDIC insured, and the other one was not, and up to $100 million of customer funds were lost. And if you bank with Mercury, this could have been you. They were directly involved, and I'm gonna go through the overview of the story. I'm gonna keep it tight, but I'm gonna explain exactly what happened in both instances and some key takeaways and key things you need to know if you're using fintech online banks like I am as well. The first example is the FDIC insured bank. In 2023, we've heard about Silicon Valley Bank, an online bank, it's a presidential bank. It's one of the biggest banks to ever fail in the US. Because this bank was FDIC insured, basically the government stepped in and guaranteed all of the funds. No one lost any money, and it was kind of like a big deal for a little while, and then it kind of glazed over because at the end, no one really lost any money. They're like, why'd the bank fail? They invested poorly. How banks manage your money is a different story altogether. That was kind of it. Because you were directly with a bank that's FDIC insured, you had a relationship with them, then when the bank failed, you didn't lose any money. FDIC is insurance where the government really doesn't want banks to fail to hold US dollars. Now, this second example goes back a long time, and I'm gonna go through the whole timeline, and this involves Synapse Financial Technology Company, I think is what it's called. So here's the story of it, right? Synapse Financial Technologies was opened in 2014, and it ran through 2021, and it grew rapidly. It had $50 million plus of venture capital investment, and the role of this company was an intermediary. So it was an infrastructure provider. 2014 to 2021, it was working with partners like Evolve and Mercury Bank. So this was the banking intermediary between Mercury and Evolve. So basically Mercury worked with Synapse, and that worked with Evolve Bank and Trust, the bank that was backing Mercury for many years. They don't work with them anymore, and I'll get through that. In early 2023, Mercury cut ties with Synapse and started work directly with Evolve. And that's kind of when it went bad. In 2023, there was a lot of struggles with Synapse, and in 2024, they filed bankruptcy, and they revealed an $85 million shortfall in customer funds. The number changes a lot. I say up to $100 million. We don't really know how much exactly was lost, but I got most of these sources and most of this information from this awesome CoffeeZilla video, which I'll link at the end, where he does an in-depth situational dive. But I'm just trying to hit the bullet points so that we can take away the important stuff from it and how this affects international entrepreneurs, you guys. So Mercury Bank was a major Synapse client, and they separated from Synapse in 2023, and they began working directly with Evolve Bank. So Mercury cut off Synapse. Synapse ran out of money. They went bankrupt in 2024. Synapse was a major banking partner for other banks, and they ran out of funds. So these other banks tried to give their customers their money back, but the money just wasn't there. And the problem was primarily due to the bookkeeping, the ledgers, the rules between it. Because Synapse isn't a bank, it's not FDIC insured, everyone who lost money from the Synapse relationship didn't get their money back. The government doesn't guarantee money from a financial intermediary. If Evolve would have failed, like in the first example, Silicon Valley Bank failed, if Evolve would have failed, all the money would have been guaranteed. But because Synapse failed, the money wasn't guaranteed. And this wasn't with any banks that I ever talk about. It's like Yaddo and some other banks that are only available to Americans. And this is still in court. So like 2024, 25, they're still going through court. Does Evolve owe money? Does Synapse owe the money? Where is the money that is due to these people who had their accounts closed? So who had money in the banks, I mean. So when we're looking at this, we're trying to see where is our money. And the main takeaways from this, which I'm going to go over, is the first thing is like understand where your money is actually held. So when you're banking with RelayFi, your money is with Thread Bank. When you're banking with RHO, which I like them, they use Webster Bank. You got to see the capitalization of that bank, if they're working directly with the bank or if there's an intermediary. I know RHO, I believe, has an option where you can invest through a partner bank type syndicate and they'll give you better returns, but I didn't like not knowing which bank my funds were with, because if that syndicate thing went down, then the money's gone. So I didn't do that. I keep it with the main bank. If you're banking with Mercury, they explain how they partner with their partner banks on their website, and they have Community Bank and one other bank that they started working with because they cut ties with Evolve. Evolve's in a lot of heat right now. I'll go through some of these. I'll share my screen and we'll look at how some of these banks do keep your money safe, so we can see, especially some of the ones that I recommend the most. If you're working with Chase, that's JP Chase, the biggest bank in the US. You know, your money's directly with them. But when you work with a fintech company, they're partnering with a Middlesex Savings, Community Savings, Evolve. They're partnering with one of these type of banks. So let me open up some of these links and I'll share my screen. So we'll start with Mercury, a very popular bank that many of you use because they will allow you to open an account as a non-resident with an LLC and using a registered agent address. So this is how powerful banking brought to you by Mercury and its partner banks. And Mercury is one of the biggest of these online banks, which is why when they left Synapse, it caused a big issue and a big problem and exposed their bad accounting because they took over, I think, $3 billion of funds out of the bank. So from the beginning, Mercury has a partner bank business model. So Mercury doesn't need to get licensed because they're not a bank. They're a financial technology company that keeps all your money directly with the banks. And you can look at, we work with banks that are headquartered in the U.S., FDIC insured, including Choice Financial Group, Column NA, and Patriot Bank. We've also worked with Evolve Bank and Trust, but announced in March we're transitioning away, probably because a lot of their pending litigation and issues. I don't know why. I'm not doing any in-depth research, just topical research and practical research here. Our state charter bank partners are overseen by state agencies that issue their charters. You have to be careful about who you're banking with, right? Funds in your checking, and you can read this on Mercury's website. This is from their March blog. About how the money moves across. Another bank, here's Relay, probably the second most popular. They use Thread Bank. It's their partner bank. Through Everyday Business, FDIC insured up to $3 million. So it looks like your money's directly with Thread Bank. Relay is a fintech, not FDIC bank. So, but if Relay goes under and they stole all your money, then it's a class action lawsuit back to sue Relay. It's not with the bank where the bank's guaranteed. So that's like the issue with the fintech bank, is that these banks are not banks. They're technology companies that work with banks, and your money should be with the bank. They work with Thread Bank. You can read more about Thread Bank in their website. I think Thread Bank also works with Highbeam, and they work with a couple other fintech banks. I like RHO. They're not very good for non-residents, but they work with Webster Bank, and they're highly capitalized. They have a lot of money, $77 billion of combined assets. Now we get to Wise, and we talk about Wise a lot, how Wise keeps your money safe. So Wise is licensed to hold your money. It's not a bank, but to follow, part of keeping it safe, they follow strict rules by the regulators in your countries. How is it different from a bank? We don't lend out your money. Banks do. This is why governments require them to insure their deposits. So technically, Wise doesn't lend your money. They charge you money for the transfers, and they just hold your money. There's a lot of different rules, but depending on where you've set it up, if you're using Wise USA Inc., generally with US LLCs, you're using that. But this is how Wise does it. So the cash deposits are with Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase are the institutions. So that's pretty good. They hold customer money in Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. So it looks like you're in pretty good secure banks if you're with Wise. But again, you're still trusting a financial technology company, and their customer service is terrible. I make a lot of videos about Wise. I get a lot of clicks on those. I should make more. And then you can opt into the insurance program or the interest program on Wise, but they will make you sign a W-9. I'll talk about that in another video. Now, AirWalleX, very interesting. How does AirWalleX keep my money safe? I like AirWalleX. I think it's a good alternative to Wise. I don't recommend keeping a lot of money in either of these. What's interesting about AirWalleX is in the US, they still work with Evolve Bank and Trust. Evolve Bank and Trust, again, they're not guilty of anything. They're still being investigated. Apparently the ledgers of Evolve don't match up with the ledgers of Synapse and the bankruptcy proceedings and all that stuff. I want to give you some key takeaways and action steps here. First, if you want to learn more about this topic of this specific bank failing, check out fellow creator CoffeeZilla. He's amazing. He made an awesome video about how this whole thing went down. It's very dramatic, very well done. He's an amazing creator. CoffeeZilla, and I can maybe link that video. Now the key steps and takeaways, like practical things for you guys. Number one is understand where your money is actually held. What bank actually is holding the money? Is it with Webster? Is it with Thread? Is it with Evolve? Where is your money? Is it with Synapse, with an intermediary? It's good to know who has your money and who's responsible for it. Number two is don't just click stuff. There was when Mercury moved from Synapse, there was an opt-out. There was a way to, if you didn't want to move, you could opt out. They'd close your account and send you your money. So there's a lot of like little things that you'll check, little things you'll go through. Don't just blindly check stuff. Actually read what you're checking and be thoughtful about the things that you're opting into, because some of it could make a big difference in where your money's actually being kept. Number three, diversify banking relationships. If you have all of your money in one account and that bank, some massive fraud comes down and the CEO of the bank stole everyone's money, your money's going to be locked up for a while until they figure it out. I would always recommend having multiple banking relationships. I would recommend if you have money in like a Goldman Sachs or Charles Schwab account and you have stocks, that money's in the stock. If you have money in a money market in one of those accounts, if it's FDIC insured with the institution, that's probably better. I think Mercury and Relay and Wise and all of these online fintech banks are amazing to work with. They send wires, they have low fees, they have the best apps. They're awesome. I personally use them. I use all of them, honestly. I think they're great. I've kind of backed away a lot from Chase, from all these other banks for the fees and for the issues or whatever. I think Chase is still a great option if you're going to be coming to the US, and I have other videos about how to get those accounts open. But you need to be aware of like where your money is, and you need to have diverse relationships. Understand your FDIC insurance limitations. Generally, if a bank fails, the government, as we saw with Silicon Valley Bank, will guarantee all of it and will give you all your money back, and they'll guarantee it so you won't lose any money. So just understand the limitations there and understand who has the money. And then finally, the last point I have here is invest in cybersecurity awareness. Don't just click random stuff on the internet. People trying to hack you all the time. It's always good to be really aware of phishing emails, phishing attempts, and don't get your information stolen. That's just like an aside. It's not really related to this video. So there was, there's at the end of the day, there's some good things that came out of this whole Synapse bank failing. The good thing is that now there's fintechs work directly with the banks. There's higher scrutiny on these relationships from the administrating bodies, from the government, the FTC, and those different agencies. The big negative is that American people all over the world lost over $100 million worth of money through this banking fiasco. That's a lot of money. People's entire savings were wiped out if they had it in one of these online fintech banks. I think Yada was the only one I could find, but Synapse had a lot of different banking clients with different varying levels of customer deposits on file. Guys, be careful out there. Keep track of your money. If you need help opening US bank accounts, like again, I know this is a video about how online fintech banks are bad. They're really not bad. They're super helpful. They're super useful. I would just say diversify them. And it's a great option because it's often the only option you have as international entrepreneurs of getting an account open. So if you need help getting an account open, getting your LLC done the right way, doing all this stuff, I have a lot of videos about it, or you can work directly with me and the team. We have very competitive packages. You can schedule a free call, jamesbakercpa.com/schedule. And please comment below any other news, any other articles, any other relevant information you have. I'd love to have the conversation keep going in the comments. I try and get down there and comment back. So thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.